तापो के काड़ जियो तापो के काड़ जियो तू मेरा राखा सबनी ताई तापो के पिता तू है मेरा माता तू मेरा बंधक तू मेरा प्राता तू मेरा पिता तू है मेरा माता तू मेरा बंधक तू मेरा प्राता तू मेरा राखा सबनी ताई तापो के काड़ जियो तापो के काड़ जियो तू मेरा राखा सबनी ताई तापो के काड़ जियो तापो के काड़ जियो तुम्हारी कृपा ते तुद बचाना तू मेरी ओट तू है मेरा माना तुम्हारी कृपा ते तुद बचाना तू मेरी ओट तू है मेरा माना तुझ बिन दूजा और ना कोई सब तेरा खेल अखाड़ा जियो सब तेरा खेल अखाड़ा जियो तू मेरा राखा सबनी ताई तापो के काड़ जियो तापो के काड़ जियो जंग सब तुद पाए जित जित पाना तित तित
They're inviting someone.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to satsang. Welcome to the holy dance that we do every day, where we come to Father God, Mother God, and we all dance the holy dance of going back home, the dance of our true home. We dance it. We dance because we know we'll be home soon, and we dance with God. We dance with Master. So welcome to today's love. And let me read the schedule for you. And of course, Master every day astonishes us with gorgeous schedules that cannot be described. Really, such beauty, such glory comes out from the heart of his lovers. And it comes out in so many forms, either in a shabd or in a schedule or in a satsang. It's just amazing how Master works. And here's the gorgeous schedule. I hope you saw all these beautiful colors. Um, and we have a Shabd by Anonymous, and it is, where do you search for me, my friend? Where do you search for me, my friend? Then we were supposed to have a talk by Sister Bhavani. Is she here? But she fell sick and she canceled. So I would also like to wish her a happy birthday. And I would like to, it's her birthday. So she was supposed to do Seva on her birthday, but she was not feeling well. Also, it's Beth's birthday. And I don't know if she's here, but I also wish her a happy birthday. Yeah, I don't see her. Uh, Happy birthday, Beth. Happy birthday, Bhavani. And okay, and then yes, so it's only me on the schedule. And uh, and then we will watch Master and melt into his love. So let's start with the Song of Anonymous and enjoy.
राधा स्वामी टू ऑल। बानी कबीर जी। मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में। मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में। मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, ना तीरथ में ना मूरत में, ना एकांत निवास में, ना मंदिर में ना मस्जिद में, ना काशी कैलाश में। मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में। मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, ना मैं जप में ना मैं तप में, ना मैं व्रत उपास में, ना मैं क्रिया कर्म में रहता, नहीं योग संन्यास में। मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में। मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, खोजी होए तुरत मिल जाऊं, एक पल की तलाश में। कहे कबीर सुनो भई साधो, मैं तो हूँ विश्वास में। मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में। मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में। मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे। राधा स्वामी जी, थैंक यू फॉर दिस।
Wow, thank you to Anonymous. That was amazing voice, godly voice. Anonymous, all of our Anonymous's voice is so, so godly and so beautiful. And we appreciate the seva. And that was a beautiful shabd. Where can I find you, my Lord? Not in temples, not in mosques, not in gurdwaras, but in the temple of the human body. That's where God can be found. And I start the satsang by putting my head on my master Santakar Singh's feet, my Holy Father, who gave me birth into the into the beyond, and gave me the connection of the holy light and the holy sound, and really changed my life forever. Once I met that God man, my whole life changed. I fell in love with him from head to toe, and that was it. Really, I fell in love with his greatness, with his greatness, with his love. I fell in love with his love as I did not see a regular human being. I saw a God man. I saw a God man that was power, love, protection. And just like that shabd in the beginning, it says, "Oh Lord, you are my relative, you are my brother, you are my protector. Why should I have any anxiety or any fear?" Once we meet such a God man, just like my master, Santakar Singh, then there is no reason to have any fear, any anxiety, as long as we are connected with that power, as long as we are connected with that power, as long as we nourish our soul with the holy light and the holy sound, and we become receptive to the power of God, then we have no fear, we have no anxiety. I also put my head on Ishwar Puri's feet. He has also blessed me so much. And without the grace of Santakar Singh, I would have never met him. That Santakar Singh showed me where his power is working, and that was in the body of a disciple of Baba Sawan Singh, a disciple that came directly from Baba Sawan Singh and who was spent all his life with Baba Sawan Singh, and he was imbued with Baba Sawan Singh's love, with Baba Sawan Singh being from head to toe. He was Baba Sawan Singh in the human form, and how great luck, how a great luck to be to become so close to Baba Sawan Singh. That Ishwar Puri Ji gave us the gift of Baba Sawan Singh. He brought Baba Sawan Singh so close to us. And every day we have Baba Sawan Singh with us. We have our perfect master. We came from so many perfect masters over here, from Sant Ajayab, Sant Kirpal, and many others, and many others. And we have their grace. We have their grace, and we have their love. And every day here is a godly party. Every day here is a godly party in God, in God. And we just enjoy, as in this path. When we first come on this path, then there is so much to be purified, so much to be cleaned. We have just come from the world, and the world has filled us with all rubbish, with the shadow, with the shadow. And now we are seeking the light. So we come full of the shadow, full of darkness when we come to this path. But with the grace of the Master, they start purifying us, as when the Master takes a seat next to our soul directly, not even one moment is passed. Once he once he takes a seat next to our soul, the cleanliness starts. He starts to really shake the jar from the bottom and show us what has to be cleaned, what has to be cleaned, and he starts to clean it. And he starts to clean it. So in the beginning, this path is a path of effort, a lot of effort, keeping the diaries, purifying the mind, and being perseverant, being patient, and never letting go, and doing a lot of seva, a lot of meditation, and a big effort, which becomes grace at the end, which becomes grace that will lift us. That effort becomes grace, and grace lifts us. On the wings of love, we get lifted. On the wings of love, we get lifted. And this this path in the beginning, it's like a rocket that goes out from Earth, and it has to put a lot of effort because it's under the gravity of Earth. But once it surpasses the Earth gravitational force, then it's under a different gravitational force, the gravitational force of the moon. Then it has to do nothing. It just has to relax and just relax and let the moon pull it. And this is exactly the path of the saints and the path of the masters. In the beginning, we really have to purify ourselves. We have to do a lot of grace, of course, holding the hand of master, because master is the only one that purifies. He's the only one that puts the cleanliness. He's the only one that has the soap and the brush. And he's the only one that has the washing machine. But that effort becomes grace. Once our mind is purified to a certain degree, once our mind is purified to a certain degree, once so much of our heavy burden karmas have been paid off, and we are much lighter, we are much lighter. Once our attachments are cut, once our desires are sublimated or satisfied, then what happens? Then it's a different story. Then we are not suffering going up a hill towards the top of the mountain. Then we are dashing towards God's love. And then it becomes a holy party every day. It becomes a holy party every day because the soul has surpassed the mind, has surpassed time and space, and now it's under the full command of the inner master, and it's dashing towards God. And in this dashing towards God, free falling in love, free falling. It's that's like that song, Free Falling. I'm free falling in love. And it's a free falling in love that the seat under us, the seat of the mind, has been snatched by the master, and we are free falling in master's lap, in master's heart, in the depth of creation where God is. And then we have graduated the God of don'ts, the God of no's, the God, the jealous God, the God of what you sow, so shall you reap, the God of anger, the God of wrath, the God of shadow. We have graduated that God, and now that God that cannot touch us, that lower God, the Kal God, cannot touch us because he has no ropes to pull us down anymore. The ropes of attachment, they have been cut by Master. Desires of the three worlds have been sublimated. And now there is only one desire, and that is totality of consciousness. Totality of consciousness and merger in God, merger in the ocean of love. And now we are more sublimated. We are more sublimated. We are at a different frequency. We are at a different frequency. Now we are vibrating with the frequency of love, the frequency of the inner master. Our soul is strong. And now we can start to really enjoy that the suffering agencies that used to work on us are not there anymore. And now we can sit and enjoy in the circle of lovers. Enjoy what Hafiz used to talk about in the tavern, when he in all his poems are with the holy family, the exalted holy family that goes to the tavern inside. And in the tavern inside there is the saki, the inner master who pours the cup, who pours the cup of wine. And in that goblet, in that in that big cup, and everybody in the circle of lovers who really, really graduated the mind now can get intoxicated in the love. So it's very, very important to really graduate the mind, to graduate time and space, and to start dashing in love and in God. And for that, we have to put the effort, and we have to have sincere prayers to Master, to God, to please release us. Take away everything that takes us away from you. That's the real prayer that we all have, is that Master, please take away everything that takes me away from you, so I can only be with you, so we can graduate the lower god of anger, the lower god of wrath, the lower god of suffering that is there to only make us suffer. That in the three worlds, yes, enjoyments are provided, but what happens for every enjoyment? Then there is a payment. That there is a payment that will come at some time. Maybe if not even in this life, then in the next life, that payment will come. That if somebody has a life of a king here and is enjoying, and really nobody, really the kings, as my master Santakar Singh used to say, uneasy lies the head that bears the crown. That the higher we are in this world, then the more worries we have. Because now, if we are a king, we have to worry about all the people who might revolt against us, who might kill us, who might take away our kingdom. And then we become ruthless, we commit karmas because we are scared that somebody is going to take our kingdom. And then we're always worried. We're always in a state of worry. We're always in a state of worry. Remember that story once I told you? There was a king, and that king was looking out of his window at a saintly person. And, and that saintly person had nothing really, did not even have a place to sleep, or a blanket or anything like that. And then he said, I want to go and ask that person, how is his condition? And he invited him to the palace, and he came and he said, if I tell you the truth, will you please not hold it against me? Will you please not punish me? And the king said, of course, I will not punish you. He said, well, at some part of the night, we were equal. I was totally equal to you, even though you are a king and I am just a poor person outside. But at some point of the night, we were both equal. As when we were sleeping, I forgot myself and you forgot yourself, even though you were sleeping on a very luscious bed and I was sleeping on the ground, but I wasn't in my body, and and both of us were in that deep sleep state, so we were at the same condition. And but then at the next stage, when I woke up and I started to meditate, I was in a much, much, much better situation than you. Because what happened? You were up and you were in a deep, deep worry about your people who are criticizing you, revolts in your kingdom, having enough money in your kingdom, and all these worries were coming at you, and you could not sleep. And you were just living in that worry. And me, I was meditating, I was in connection with the holy light and sound. I was out of my body and I was in the highest regions of God, enjoying the highest enjoyments that any human being can enjoy. And that enjoyment, the poorest person can enjoy and the richest person can enjoy. It's all about the grace of God, that He graced us with a perfect master, and He graced, and we are connected with the holy light and sound. And that poor person, the saintly person, was he was no he was poor, but he was the richest. In the outside world, he was poor, but in the inner world, he was God. He was the kingdom of God. He was enjoying the highest bliss. He was intoxicated. He was supremely happy in ecstasy of God. Everything that God enjoying, he was enjoying, because he has that connection with God. And that king was really astonished at the really sincerity of that person. And he could become spiritual now because he could see that a poor person is much, much more happy than him, much more happy than him. So, yes, led by the Spirit, they are no more under the law. Led by the Spirit, we are no more under the law. That means once we graduate the mind, once we graduate time and space, once our soul goes beyond time and space, beyond the mind, and the mind cannot hold us back, then led by the Spirit, they are no more under the law. What law is that? That is the law of karma, the law of Kal. What you sow, so shall you reap. The law of of the wheel of life, the wheel, the wheel of the cycle of reincarnation. That means we will never have to be reincarnated again. That means we are led by the Spirit. That means our accounts, all our accounts are in the hand of the Master. That means He decides our future. He decides what karma still has to be paid in the human life, and He decides the way it should be paid. It's not Kal that decides. And He decides everything for us. Nobody, and that beginning Shabd is so true that you are my protector. Why should I feel anxiety? Why should I feel anxiety when you are my protector? And yes, yes, and yes, that really, really, and we, the lovers of God, have tested it so many times. The police stops me when I am driving because I'm always driving. And I remember the last two times. One time I crossed a red light, and one time I did a illegal U-turn. Both of those times, the police stopped me, and then all of a sudden they gave me back my license, and they said, "Okay, don't do it again." Now, why did that happen? If somebody crosses a red light, they should get a ticket. But Cal could not decide my fate, that there was an order, a big supreme order that came from my master, that came from Baba Sawant Singh, Sant Singh, and Ishwar Puri Ji, and says, no, you cannot touch the soul, give him back his license. My license was given back. And this, this, this just small incident shows us that really we don't have to feel any anxiety, that the protector, the power of all powers, the power of all powers is behind our back, is behind our back and is blessing us and is being with us. Hafiz, I want to read to you later a poem, and Hafiz says that he only knows one God, and that God only knows 4 words. And guess what those 4 words are? I'll give you 2 seconds to guess them. 4 words that the Supreme Lord, Satpurush, only that God, only knows 4 words. What are those 4 words? Put them in your head. Try to guess them, I mean. And now I'm going to tell it to you. Okay. Did you try to guess them? Okay, I'll tell you. Come, dance with me. 4 words. Come, dance with me. Come dance with me. Come to the tavern and dance with me. And this, the Supreme Lord, Satpurush, Father God, Mother God, Ishwarji, Santakar Singh, Baba Sawant Singh, they only know 4 words. Come dance with me. And their arms are always open. Please come dance with me. Come dance with me. And this, what happens when we graduate the mind. When the mind gets purified, when the mind reaches a level that it is a pure mind, that it only sings the Shabd of God, it only thinks of God, it only thinks of Seva, it only thinks of helping others and making others benefit on the path, then that purified mind is invited. I mean, the soul of that purified mind is invited to the court of Lord God, where there is only 4 words known there. Come dance with me. Come dance with me. Come drink with me. Come drink from the holy cup of God, from that ancient wine that Hafiz talks about, that one drop of that ancient wine will make all the drunks in this world want to become godmen. All the drunks of the world will want to become godmen. Godmen, if they just taste what the saints taste in meditation, what the saints experience in such that cannot be described as Ishwar Puri Ji, that those experiences cannot, anybody who tries to tell you to, anybody who tries to explain what happens beyond time and space is just saying stories. Is just saying stories, as it cannot be described with the words, because words belong to mind. Words belong to the mind. The mind cannot describe something it has never experienced, something that it's beyond its limitation. That mind can no way describe the regions of the soul. And what can be said about these regions is it's not this, it's not that, it's just love. How could you explain love? How could you define love? How could you define the most exalted love of God? That cannot be described. It cannot be described. It cannot be written. It cannot be written. And all the saints and masters said, even Kabir said, if you give me all, if all the trees in the world became pens and all the oceans became ink, then I cannot describe to you the condition of a God man and that condition, the state of enjoyments, and what is lying there waiting for us. Come dance with me. Come dance with me is really what the master only knows. But to come and dance with the master, we have to really, really become sublime love. Really, we have to conquer the mind. We have to conquer the mind. As my master Santakar Singh used to come to the ashram in Oregon, and he used to look at the Savidars that used to live there, and he used to see to say all of I only see big minds. The Savidars are big minds. The people who come here are also minds. They come here as minds and they leave as but little bit less minds. But I have not seen anybody who has become soul. But I know there are people who are trying. There are people who are trying. This was the condition in the ashrams of Santakar Singh, that everybody was a big mind. The Savidars were big minds. People who came there were still minds. And and they were trying to become soul. They were trying to become soul. And straight is the gate and narrow is the way that leads to life. However, very few shall find it. Very, very few shall become soul. Very few know, start to have that gift, that treasure of knowing themselves as soul. And from there, if they have a perfect master of the highest order, like Baba Sawan Singh, then they start, then they are pulled by love into totality of consciousness. Then they know themselves as God. Then they know themselves as God. So yes, in the beginning, it's a very, very difficult state that we have to really go through years and years, repeat the holy names, the five holy names billion times sometimes, and keep doing seva with not expecting anything in return. That's really, really, it's a fight on all fronts, on all the fronts. We cannot leave one front and not fight on it. That in this holy war, to remove the shadow, to conquer the shadow, we have to fight on all the fronts. And that is the front of meditation. Do our daily meditation and do it regularly with no cease. Do it regularly. If Master says do 2.5 hours, try to do much more. Try to do much more, because we have to please the Master. We have to please the Master. And then Baba Sawan Singh says that it will become 24-hour meditation, because we will be thinking of Master all the time. We have to fight. So yes, the front of the meditation. Then there is the front of service, and then we have to create some type of seva for ourselves. If we cannot go to an ashram and serve there, if we, there is so many ways that we can serve in the name of the master. In the name of the master, we can create our seva. This soul, in my work, I created a seva that I have my car full of masters pictures. Baba Sawan Singh, Sant Singh. I have like 4 or 5 pictures of Sant Singh. I have a big picture of Ishwar Puri Ji and Be Love and meditation, the way to inner peace. And then so I created some type of seva where people ask me, and then once they ask me, my soul starts dancing that I'm doing seva for my master, and then the satsang comes, and then their soul is nourished, their soul is satisfied. I am satisfied because there is a big, big, big joy that comes from doing seva. Big, big joy that comes from doing seva, and and it makes the whole day happy. That wow, one soul did not know about the holy light, the holy sound, the perfect master. Now they know. Now the seed of God has went in them. The seed of my master has planted the seed of God in them, and he has used my mouth, and I am so happy, so happy. So yes, we are to create whatever seva we can. Another seva I created many years ago was I had signs. God is now here with Santakar Singh, his picture, and meditation, the way to inner peace on my front and on my back. I used to wear the signs and walk on Michigan Avenue and have like hundreds of brochures. That was like a really, really beautiful seva. Even though so many people criticized me, so many people just shunned me, so many people screamed at me, but I was so happy. I was doing Simran and I was doing giving the brochures, and so many people got benefited. So I remember the people from the Moody Bible Institute, the Moody Bible Institute, which are so beautiful people because they are still at the level of the church, and we have to respect that. But but they were all ears, that they all stood around me and they were all ready to listen, ready to listen to what I was trying to say, and they really loved me. They really loved me, and they were asking all these questions, and I was answering them. And they were so many days that I went to give brochures. I bumped with the Moody Bible Institute people or lovers of Jesus, and I would just tell them that the inner church is here, and everything that Jesus enjoyed, you can also enjoy. You can also enjoy the inner master. The inner master is inside of us. The inner master can be enjoyed. The inner master can be accessed. He can be accessed, and that is comes by full concentration and by His grace. And with the lovers of God, with the lovers of God, we have to go through the pains and pangs of separation, because the pains and pangs of separation makes us stronger and stronger and makes us yearn more and more and more. So if you see somebody that says, I have the inner master all the time, if he is not total or if she is not total, then they're not saying the truth. Because it's a step, it's a process to get the inner master 24/7. That's a process. Because I have seen people say, oh, I have the inner master. I have the, of course, we all have the inner master, but for the inner master to show himself 24/7, we have to become like Ishwar Puri Ji, total, total, really. So before that step of totality, there is the step that we go through ups and downs, that we go where sometimes even the devotion, the love and devotion, sometimes it's extremely in a good state, and sometimes you know it's we are in a drought. We are in a drought and we are like, where are you, master? And then we start to put more meditation and more effort, and to really find the inner master again, because sometimes the inner master shows himself to us and we get so happy and we think that's it, it's going to be like that every day. But no, then he takes a step back, and it takes sometimes time. Sometimes it takes months where the inner master shows himself again. Why is that? That's through the process that he makes us stronger and stronger, the process that he makes sure that our ego does not come, because really sometimes the ego is our worst enemy, and the spiritual ego, of course. There is the ego of the mind, but there is also another ego, and that is the ego the spiritual the spiritual ego that we know something, or we can see something, or we have the inner master, or I have access to the inner master, then that creates a spiritual ego, and the spiritual ego really uh, is detrimental to our totality, detrimental to our totality. So the inner master knows what he is doing, and the reason that he hides himself sometimes is to make sure that that ego does not come, and that we are nothing, we are really nothing, and he is, and the holy light, the inner master is everything. The holy light and sound and the inner master is everything. So there is a reason, there is a reason, and those pangs of separation brings the tears of wanting to be with the master. And when the tears start to flow and become like a river, then the master shows himself again. And we have to always watch what we are doing, that we are not displeasing our inner master. Any thought, any word, and any deed that is opposite of love, that displeases the inner master, has to be shunned. How do we shun it? We shun it with the holy five names, that whenever our attention starts to go down to the lower nine doors, then we bring it back up with Simran. So that's another front that we fight the holy war, first with meditation, then with seva. And seva, as I said, we can create our own seva. And if you don't know what to do, then you can ask the inner master, and the inner master will guide you to the best seva that you can do, and that you can always do that seva. So yes, and of course, we all know that seva is the seva of the mind, where we can give our meditation. We should always donate all of our meditation to the master, and then he will bless us, and much more, when we don't meditate for ourselves, but we say, Master, I give you my meditation. And that is also seva of the mind. And then, of course, there's seva of the money, seva of the money that we donate to the mission of God, to the mission of Master, or even if we do it to charity in the name of God, it also is powerful. But the best is in the mission of Master, because really, why is it the best is in the mission of the Master? Because if one person starts to meditate because of that seva, that financial seva we did, then imagine, imagine that we have helped a soul to be on the way to be released from the wheel of life, from the cycle of karma, from the cycle of reincarnation. That's the best thing we can do to anyone, is put them on the way of release, put them on the way of liberation, is the best seva, is the best seva. That's why to help in the mission of God, to help in the mission of the Master, that's the best seva we can do, is to release somebody that we can give, we can use that money to give some poor person and give it in the name of Master, and also goes on our credit. But if we use that money in the mission of God, where a soul will be released, or an ashram will be built and somebody will meditate there, and our seva has helped in that, that's a really, really great achievement. That if our effort has led like 100 people to sit in meditation, then and those 100 people meditated, let's say, each an hour, and then all these hours of meditation, something goes to us because we help them. We help them to sit and meditate, and something goes to us from their meditation. So that becomes a blessing to us. It becomes a big blessing to us, because now they are meditating due to our efforts. So yes, another front that we fight our war, and we fight this war atrociously. We fight it atrociously because we cannot let the shadow take over. We cannot let the shadow take over. We cannot let the mind take over. Once we give leeway to the mind, wow, it just jumps on us. It becomes a big dragon. It becomes a big dragon that cannot be subdued, that only a master of the highest order, a perfect one, can subdue it. So, yes, we should not allow our mind any leeway whatsoever. Always keep it tied. And we fight another, front is satsang, that we attend the satsang of the perfect masters. We attend the satsang of the perfect ones. We listen to the holy words, just like here, we listen every day to Ishwar Puri Ji, and we dance in his love. So we listen to the words of the perfect masters. And if we read any book, the best is to read the books of the perfect masters, because in their books, all spirituality is contained and no mind is there. No adulteration of mind is there. When we read the Adi Granth, also, there is no adulteration of the mind. It has not been changed. It has not been changed by worldly people. So the best is to read books from the perfect masters, to listen to the words of the perfect masters, those who come from Baba Sawan Singh, from that lineage, or that we know that they are perfect, like Hafiz, Shams, and Kabir, and their teachings are there, Guru Nanak, all these, they help us. They help us on the way because their words that came directly from God, as He spake through the mouth of His holy prophets since time began, that God spoke through the mouth of His holy prophets since time began, and He gave the fresh message of God. He gave the fresh message. He gave the fresh message to us through the mouths of His holy prophets. And that is why it is very, very important to have a living master, because a living master gives us the fresh message of God. As when Sant Kirpal was here, he talked to the people that were here in the 60s, in the 50s, and in the 70s. And God gave the message, even though this message, that is eternal message, is unchangeable. The truth is unchangeable. But for each period of time, there could be a special message according to the need of the people. So yes, there could be a slight difference, that now it's a different era. Now it's a different era. The technology is different. Everything is different. So we need, that's why like the perfect master is needed to tell us the fresh message of God. And Ishwar Puri Ji was here, and he told us, he was telling us the message that was coming directly from God through the mouth of Ishwar Puri Ji, the total one, the total one. So it's good. So yes, yes. So the front of seva, the front of meditation, the front of satsang, the front of simran, that we have to really keep working on our simran to make it automatic, that the remembrance of God has to become automatic. And that also is a struggle in the beginning. It's a struggle in the beginning, and we try to repeat those holy words that we don't understand, and it's hard to repeat them. But we have to keep trying, we have to keep trying until we reach a stage that Simran is automatic and Simran is always residing. When Simran is always residing, Simran is always automatic, then the presence of God is there. When the presence of God is there, we are receptive to God, and our cup is always being filled with His grace, with His love, with His mercy, with everything that He has to offer us. And the other front that we can fight on is also self-introspection. Self-introspection, that we introspect ourselves. We introspect ourselves to see what kind of rubbish there is inside of us. And Master is really good at showing us our negativity, the entities that live in us. What has to be changed? Ask Master, and he will put a mirror and he will show you your inner self. He never fails. He always will show us, because he wants us to clean ourselves. He wants to show us our inner condition, how we look like, and what has to be done. What has to be done. So really, the self introspection, looking at ourselves every day and seeing if there is a trace of greed inside of us that has to be removed, if there is any anger there, if there is any lust inside of us that's still there, if there is any violence inside of us, if we are criticizing anybody, if we are judging anybody, if we're not being unconditional love, that we have to become unconditional love. Master wants us to love each other as he loved us, exactly as he loved us. He wants us to love each other as he loved us. So our love has to be unconditional. For love to be unconditional, then the judge inside of us that judges all the time, it's ready to judge. It's ready to judge this person is not spiritually developed, this person is this person is that. And because then what happens? That there is God living in that person. God, Master is living in that person. And then when we judge them, then subconsciously we are sending an arrow to towards them. Subconsciously, they feel it. They feel it. They feel it. Why? Because when Master is inside of us, all of us, we become very receptive. So we have to make sure that we only uh, become love, be love, be love, become love, and all our thoughts, all our deeds, all our actions have to become love. That this is why we also have to fight the front of this war of love, this war of love, that we have to introspect ourselves. We have to introspect ourselves. This way, when we realize what's deficiency we have within ourselves, and we hand it to Master, then Master will remove it. But first of all, we have to acknowledge it, and we have to have the inner yearning that I want this deficiency to be removed. I want this deficiency, this obstruction between me and the inner Master to be removed. Once we have that prayer, and sometimes we have to do that prayer for many, many years. We have to be very adamant and very perseverant and very patient on this path of love. That this path of love is not a day or two that we can get enlightenment. It's not a day or two or a year or two that we can have the inner master 24/7. No, Hafiz spoke about his journey to oneness, where he melted in God and became God, and how it took him 40 years, 40 nights, and 40 days. It took him 40 years of seva, 40 years of fighting this war of attrition, 40 years of fighting his shadow self, 40 years of fighting his shadow self. Now, each of us has a different background. Some have fought this battle in the past lives. And when we come here into this world, then we start from where we have left in the past life. So for some, it will not take 40 years, or 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 they say, like Baba Sawan Singh Shwarpuriji said, that really it takes like about 4 lives till we graduate to oneness, to totality of consciousness. But we are all have been on this path, and some of us has meditated in the past life. Some of us, it's not their first life in this in meditation. That, and how can you tell if this is the first life or the second life or the third life? There are some indicators that the masters tell us that we can know where our level is. One of the things is but by what we see inside, by what we see inside. If we have seen the sky, if we only see the sky inside or the stars, then maybe we are still on the first level. Or would some people just see light, but some people graduate to the sun, the inner sun, and the inner sun means that it's the second region. Some graduate to see the moon with his inside, which is the third region. Some see the inner master. Some even start their journey in this life by the inner master. That they see the inner master even before they got initiated. Why is that? It's because they have attained that inner master in the past lives, that they have meditated in the past life, they have worked on themselves, they have reached a level of purity where the inner master now shows himself. And and he brought them here for a purpose. Even though they have attained the inner master, they start with the inner master, but Why have they been sent here to this world again? Seva purposes, seva purposes, so others can be released, or totality purposes, that they have attained the inner master, they have come from the par Brahm, beyond time and space, but they have not attained totality of consciousness. So they are sent here again. They have attained the inner master, but they have been sent again to meet the total one, to meet the total one. And then the total one will pull them beyond par Brahm into totality of consciousness. So there is a purpose for each one of us. Each one of us has a purpose and why they have come to this world. And it does not matter. It does not matter that all of us now are in the boat of Master. And that boat will certainly 100% absolutely reach its destination. And for that, we have to start enjoying, we have to start being happy, and we have to be no anxiety. We have to have no fear. We have to become fearless and with no anxiety. As we have the protector with us, we have met the total one. The total one has blessed us. He has put his hand on our head. He has given us his drishti, his darshan, and his love. He has given us his unconditional love. The unconditional love of the Master is the ticket to the kingdom of God, is the guarantee to the kingdom of God. That this unconditional love that was given to us, this intimate relationship that my soul had with Sant Singh, that my soul had with Ishwar Puriji, I became intimate with them, that I could tell them my secrets, I could tell them my life, and they did not judge me. Sometimes they reprimanded me. I remember when Sant Singh really, when I was in the ashram and I was doing something opposite of God, trying to get attached, you know, so things that God does not like. And I remember all of a sudden he appeared in front of me and he gave me this very hard look. I will never ever forget that look, but it was a hard look. And he went around me with that hard look. He really let me know that, I was doing something opposite of God. But that's also to get a beating from the master is a great, 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 great blessing. That means he's releasing us from big karmas. He's releasing us from big burdens. And that hard look I got from my master really released me from that karma, released me from that attachment. And I felt that a big burden has been lifted from my back, that after that karma has been settled and that burden has been released, oh my God, I felt now I could really, really enjoy my meditation, really fly up to God with no ropes of the negative power. As really the shadow wants to always trick us. It wants to always trick us. It knows our weaknesses. It know because why? Because it is also just like God is inside of us, everything is contained in this temple of God, everything from A to Z. There is all the lower powers, Brahma, the creator, sustainer, destroyer. The three deities are inside of us and they belong to the time and space. They belong to Kal. So they know, they know our weaknesses. And once a soul starts to rise up high, then Cal gets jealous. Cal wants to ensnare it. And this is where we have to be very, very, very careful to keep holding the hand of Master. As Cal will do everything it wants, and since it knows our weaknesses, then it will start whatever we wanted before we could not achieve, we could not have, it will provide it for us. And it will say, here, have it. You want here, have it. You wanted this, have it. Enjoy it, enjoy it. And this is how it tries to snare the disciples of the perfect master, to keep them entangled into time and space. But once a person is initiated, that's it. Sooner or later they will escape Cal, they will go beyond time and space, and they will escape the cycle of reincarnation. That is the promise of Master. That is the promise of Master. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee till the end of the world. Till the end of the world, that love, that intimacy will never leave us nor forsakes us. This is the guarantee we have from the Total One, that He will never leave us, He will never forsake us till the end of the world, that He will be with us. Michael, think of me and I will be there. That's what Ishwar Puri Ji has promised me, and that promise will stay with me for eternity. I love you. I will be with you forever. That's another thing he said to me. And that those words, I live by those words. Those words take all anxiety, all fear, as I feel the presence of the protector with me. The presence of the protector with me wherever I go in this world, not even in this world, but in the dream world or in the astral world or in the causal world. Wherever I go, I have my master with me. He is my protector. Nobody in this world can touch me. I am no more under the law. Where there is love, there is no law. Where there is love, there is no law. Love is contained inside of us in the form of the inner master, in the Shabd. Shabd is our eternal master. It came outside in the form of Sant Thakur Singh, Ishwar Puri Ji, and Baba Sawan Singh, and Sant Kirpal Singh, and Sant Ajayib Singh. But it is the real master is inside of us. The real master has been given to us as a gift from the outer master. He just told us that I am inside of you. Come inside me and find me here at the third eye center, at the point of wisdom, at the point of wisdom here we can fill ourselves with godly wisdom. Godly wisdom is here. Once we come here and we center ourselves in the middle of the head behind the two eyes, and we start to repeat the holy mantra, we have the dhyan of the master, the dhyan of the master. We imagine the master the way we saw him in the real life. Then all wisdom starts to come on us. All wisdom, all the secrets of the world will start to uncover themselves. There will be no more secrets, no more. When we fill ourselves to the brim with the knowledge of God, with the wisdom of God, once we become all knowledge, all wisdom, then there is no questions. There is no questions. Every question has an answer. Every answer comes from within. Every answer comes from the inner master. That the inner master will answer all our questions. There will be no more questions. And how does he answer them? He will answer them mostly from inside or from outer coincidences, outer godly coincidences from inside or from our holy family, that the answers will come, or from satsang, that the answer. I remember when I was on the path, in the beginning, when I first came on the path, and I remember I went to there was some house called the Little House where the Savidars lived in the Lighthouse Center, Oregon, and I went there, and there were so many books of Sant Kirpal Singh and Sant Thakur Singh, and I used to open Sant Kirpal's books, and any question I had, I swear, I'd just open like this, and then that page will be there by godly coincidence. The answer will be there. Hundreds of my questions were answered that way, just by opening the books of the perfect ones and reading them. Then all answers were there. How beautiful, how beautiful. But then, as we progress on the path, then we don't even have to open any books to get the answers, because we have Master inside of us. We can enter this human temple, the temple, this temple, the temple of God, that this human body is the temple of God, and we enter it, and all answers are there. Everything is contained in this human body. Everything from A to Z is contained there. All answers are there. All the worlds are there. The heavens are there. Everything comes from inside to the outside. And in this human body, we have the chance to become billionaires in God. Just keep adding God to ourselves. Keep adding God to ourselves, and remember that there is a hold on a second. that there is a war that has to be fought, a war of attrition, the war of love. And with the sword of love, with the sword of love, any obstruction towards God has to be removed. Once all obstructions are removed and the inner master is there, then it will become a different story. It will become a story of going to the tavern and asking the sake, the pourer, to pour the cups and then get intoxicated and enjoy bliss, enjoy ecstasy, enjoy things that cannot be described. That is all waiting for us when our mind becomes purified. When our mind becomes purified, when all the opposites of God are controlled, when all the five enemies have been decapitated, immobilized, and their throat cut with the sword of love, then the enjoyment will start. The enjoyment will start, and we will be always smiling, always happy, and always intoxicated in that love of Master. Oh, oh yeah. I wanted to read to you, since I'm the only one on schedule. I wanted to read to you a beautiful story, a beautiful poem from Hafiz. Let's see. This one. Oh, remember? Uh, oh, here. You were brave in that holy war. Brave in the holy war. See, even Hafiz here talks about the holy war. You have done well in the contest of madness. Really, really, if our mind is not purified, then we are in madness. We are in madness. When we suffer, we are in madness. You were brave in that holy war. You have all the honorable wounds of one who has tried to find love. Wow, we all get those wounds to try to find love. And sometimes salt is being poured on the wounds of the lovers that are so close to the master. He pours salt in the wounds just to make us stronger, just to make us more holy, just to, yes, where the beautiful vine does not drink. May I speak to you like we are close and locked away together? Once I found a stray kitten, and I used to soak my fingers in warm milk. It came to think I was five mothers on one hand. Wayfarer, why not rest your tired body? Lean back and close your eyes. Come morning, I will kneel by your side and feed you. I will so gently spread open your mouth and let you taste something of my sacred mind and life. Surely there is something wrong with your ideas of God. Oh, surely there is something wrong with your ideas of God if you think our beloved would not be so tender. The beloved is always tender. The God, oh, I wanted to read to you that poem I read in the morning. The God who only knows four words. Every child has known God, not the God of names, not the God of don'ts, not the God who ever does anything weird, but the God who only knows four words and keeps repeating them, saying, come dance with me, come dance with me, come dance. Wow, so beautiful. There is this poem about a perfect one. Now, this is a beautiful story. It says, bring that man to me. A perfect one was traveling through the desert. Wow, I would love to be in that desert. A perfect one was traveling through the desert. He was stretched out around the fire one night and said to one of his close ones, There is a slave loose not far from us. He escaped today from a cruel master. His hands are still bound behind his back. His feet are also shackled. I can see him right now praying for God's help. Go to him, right to that distant hill. About 100 feet up and to the right, you will find a small cave. He is there. Do not say a single word to him. Bring the man to me. Bring the man to me. God requests that I personally untie his body and press my lips to his wounds. Whoa. The disciple mounts his horse and within 2 hours arrives at the small mountain cave. The slave sees him coming. The slave looks frightened. The disciple, on orders not to speak, gestures towards the sky, pantomiming. God saw you in prayer. Please come with me. He didn't say any word, but he gestured to the heavens. A great Murshid has used his heart's divine eye to know your whereabouts. The slave cannot believe this story and begins to shout at the man and tries to run, but trips from his bindings. The disciple becomes forced to subdue him. Think of this picture as they now travel. The million candles in the sky are lit and singing. Every particle of existence is a dancing altar that some mysterious force worships. The earth is a church floor whereupon, in the middle of a glorious night, walks a slave, weeping, tied to a rope behind a horse, with a speechless rider, taking him towards the unknown. Several times, with all of his might, the slave tries to break free, feeling he is being returned to captivity. The rider stops, dismounts, brings his eyes near the prisoner's eye. A deep kindness there communicates an unbelievable hope. The rider motions. Soon, soon you will be free. Tears roll down from the rider's cheek in happiness for this man. Anger, all this fighting and torturing, anger, all this fighting and tormenting want. Murshid, hold on 1 second. 1 second. Okay. God has God has seen you and sent a close one. God has seen your heart in prayer and sent Hafiz. So this poem, this story is so beautiful. And it is really our story. How for ages and ages, lives and lives, we have been shackled. We have been shackled with the negative power. We have been shackled in the cycle of reincarnations. We were slaves to the negative power, and it kept giving us one body after another body after another body, and we could never ever escape. We could never ever escape. And now some Murshid Kamil caught our prayer, caught our seeking, and caught our prayer, and brought us to himself. And he brought us to himself because he himself wanted to unshackle us. He himself wanted to press his lips to our wounds from all these lives and comfort us that I am here for you forever, for eternity. I will untie you. I will unshackle you. You're not a slave anymore. You are free. and you're coming with me home. You're coming with me home. This story is just a magnificent story, just a magnificent story how Master frees us from the cycle of reincarnation, from our own shadow, and from the tricks that have been played on us by the opposite power of God. Those tricks have been played on us, and now, once we have met truth, once we have met the total one, Murshid al Kamil, then what? Forever we will be free. Forever we will be free. I was imagining that Murshid al Kamil, that perfect master in the desert, sitting around the fire, and his lovers sitting around him. How it's a circle of lovers, a circle of lovers, and the Murshid al Kamil is there. Oh my God, oh my God. Won't you do anything you can to be in the presence of that Murshid in the desert and sit around that holy fire and watch another soul be free? Watch another soul be free. That is why Seva in the mission of God, Seva, Seva to free a soul from the shackles of the shadow, from the cycle of reincarnation, brings joy, just like that person on the horse dragging that slave, knowing he will be free soon, knowing that he will be free soon, and taking him towards the master. He had tears in his eyes, he had joy, joy that made him weep. That joy is to see one more soul being free, one more soul going home, and one more soul that will enjoy forever, no problems, no worries, and no sufferings. This is the life. This is the life to sacrifice this life to help others be on the path of love. That this life should be a sacrifice so we can bring as many people, as many seekers to God, that we can, that we allow ourselves, we allow this body to be used by Master. How do we allow this body to be used by Master? By purifying it, by handing it to Master. Once it's purified, then he can use us. We become Gurumukhs, and then we can watch Master work through us. We can watch Master work through us day and night. And this is the greatest life. This is really the greatest life, to do the work of Satpurush, to do the work of Baba Sawan Singh, Ishwar Puriji, and Sant Singh. There's nothing that brings more joy than to do that work. And so please, please, please keep on the fight. Keep on the fight until all the opposites of God, all their throats are slain with the sword of love. This is what I wanted to do for Seva. And thank you, Master, for giving me this chance to do Seva. And thank you for all the love. And thank you for my holy family that you bring here every day, and we drink the cup of wine and we get intoxicated and we dance in God. So now I say thank you again. And I say thank you by again. We started satsang by putting our head on Santakar's feet, on Ishwar Puri's feet, on Baba Sawan Singh's feet. I end satsang by putting my head on my Holy Father Santakar's feet. I miss him so, so, so much, also, always. And Ishwar Puri and Baba Sawan Singh, and they are inside of us. And with their grace, they will show themselves whenever they want. And they are there. That the beautiful thing is that they are inside of us. And now we can play our Holy Father Ishwar Puriji and enjoy his satsang.
I'm very happy to see all of you here. And this will be 3 days of some work, not only talk, but some walk. So that is why it's a little different from the other programs we have. Today, I want to introduce to you what we will be doing during these 3 days. We will go through different steps that we take for self-realization within ourselves through meditation. Meditation is the art of withdrawing your attention from outside and placing it inside on your own self. The secret of enlightenment, the secret of finding the truth, is to find yourself, your true self. We are regarding our outside covers like the human body, or our sense perceptions, or our mind as our own self. None of these are our own self. These are covers upon ourself. Our self is the immortal life principle we call the soul, which makes the mind alive, it makes our sense perceptions alive, and it makes our physical body alive. We have to find what the soul is. So many people are meditating to find something different in their body, not the soul. I have practiced kind of meditation with many yogis who taught us how to discover the potential of having many energetic experiences, because this body has several energetic centers of energy. All the centers of energy lie at the eyes or below the eyes. But having energetic experiences does not give you any clue whatsoever what your soul is. And that is why all meditational experiences, which we call yogic experiences, which lead to our greater information and greater experience of our energy centers that lie behind and below the eyes, do not give us any inkling of who we are. They do give us some unusual experiences. Those centers lie in this physical body, mostly in the torso of the body, starting from the bottom at the rectum, the genitals, the navel, the heart, the throat, and the eyes. These are the 6 centers of energy. All our consciousness operates for the use of the body through these centers. We connect with the world with these centers. This body also has, along with these 6 centers of energy, has 9 apertures or doors opening out outside. There are the 2 eyes, the 2 ears, there's the nose, the mouth, the 2 door apertures. These 9 doors take our attention outside. And the 6 centers of energy, they help us to use these 9 doors for our contact with the rest of the world. That is how this body lives in this physical world. At the same time, we also have the equipment inside this body in a small area, not this large torso of ours, small area of the upper part of the head only. That is behind the eyes and above the eyes. That area contains the centers of awareness. Awareness is not the same thing as energy. Energy is something we use. Awareness is something we know. True knowledge of ourself comes from opening up the centers of awareness. Unusual experiences, energetic experiences, can come by opening up the centers of energy. These are 2 different things. And many of us have been mistakenly believing that both are the same. They are not the same. Similarly, we sometimes mistake our sense perceptions as part of our physical system. And since we do not know how the mind operates, how karma operates, how old memories operate, therefore very often we think that the awareness is coming from the brain in the head, and that is why the whole thing is included in the brain, physical brain. This is not true. So many people have been able to remember things that happened even before they were born. There are people who can create past life regressions for us, and when they do that, we can remember even things that happened 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Just by trying to provoke our memory, we can remember things that happened even before we were born. which means the brain, which is part of the body, is not holding that memory, something else is holding the memory. Since we do not go within ourselves to check what is holding the old memory and what is inside, we are unaware of what else lies inside this body besides the physical brain and the physical organs of this body. But meditation upon our own self, which means thinking about our own true self, which means putting our attention on our true self, opens up the window of knowledge about things that are beyond the physical body. For example, we say sense perceptions or the power to see, touch, taste, smell, hear, they are all occurring because of the organs fixed in the body. We think we can see because we have eyes. But we forget at that time that we also see in imagination, when the eyes are not being used at all. We also see in dreams, when the eyes are closed. That means seeing is not the same thing as seeing with physical eyes. Then what is seeing? Seeing takes place in something other than the physical body. Otherwise, there would be no such thing as imaginative seeing. That is why we have never even examined how do we see. If we try to really discover, does the mind see, does the sense perception see, does this physical eye see, we notice that we can ascribe seeing to any one of these things. Because when we mentally think of something, we can imagine that picture and we can see. When we have an imagination, we see. These eyes do not operate there. Is that seeing part of the body, or is it something else? This can be discovered very easily through the type of meditation I am going to speak to you about, namely withdrawing your attention to that part of yourself where you can see without these eyes, where you can hear without these ears, where you can touch without these hands, where you can walk without these feet. And that part is actually responsible for these eyes and these ears and these hands and these feet to work. It is not the other way around, that we have something inside us which has all the sense perceptions and very accurate sense perceptions, which seem to be clouded somewhat when we try to use them through the physical body. That's a great revelation for us, that we have something else operating inside which is not dependent upon the physical body at all and carries all the sense perceptions that we are used to using with our physical body. We use it all the time, that inner body. Then we imagine, when we foresee something with our inner imagination, inner mind, we are using those sense perceptions. In dreams, we are using the same sense perceptions. But we do not willfully, with our own volition, try to find out where it is happening. Through meditation, we can find that out. How does meditation work? Meditation is the art of withdrawing our attention from outside to inside. That's all. It's a very simple process. We have made it difficult because of our attachments to our experiences outside. If we did not have so many attachments, we would be using the inner self as frequently as we use the outer self. But our outer body attachments have created a big problem for us, and it becomes hard because when we want to put our attention within our own self, these outside attachments and these desires outside, they come in the way. Otherwise, it's a very simple matter. When we meditate upon our own self, we start by meditating upon the self that is able to see without opening the eyes, which is our imaginative self. That means if we close these eyes and then imagine that we are seeing things we are not seeing with these eyes, then who is seeing? That's our inner self. We are using our inner self all the time, but we don't put attention on it. In meditation, we start putting attention on it. As our attention increases on our inner self, we use a certain power which has been given to us called the power to concentrate our attention. That's a very big power given to us. we can concentrate our attention on something, and then we become unaware of things on which we are not putting attention. It's a very big benefit we have of this special power that we can concentrate our attention wherever we like. Here are some beautiful flowers here. If I start admiring these flowers, right now I am aware of all of you and the flowers. I start admiring these flowers, looking deeply at them, and put all my attention, I will forget that you are also sitting here. The more attention I put here, the more concentration I put on the flowers, the less aware I am of other things. This is the great benefit to us, and that is what we use in meditation. When we put our attention on the inner self, the one that can see in imagination, the one that can see in dreams, the one that can see with eyes closed and in complete darkness can imagine something and we can see it. When we put our attention on that self, we gradually lose interest and do not become aware of what is happening outside. Not only we do not remember what is happening outside, we even begin to forget where our hands and feet are. We begin to forget where our legs and arms are. And then we begin to forget where our whole body is, and the inner self that we are using to see, touch, taste, smell becomes our own reality. That's the first step in meditation, and a very useful step to tell us this body is not our real self. There's something else sitting in us, which is also real, maybe more real. If we are able to stabilize that experience for some time, for a few months, say, if we are able to have that experience every day, what happens? Then you begin to feel that the inner self is independent and is working in this body, but it has some functions which we think are in the body. For example, it can remember things. It cannot remember what happened outside. When we are in the physical body, we try to remember things, we remember what happened outside. When you are trying to remember something inside, it can start remembering things that happened before you were born. You don't have to go to a past life regressor or somebody to find out what happened. You can easily find out what you were doing by the inner body of sense perceptions, which has a much longer life than the physical body. It was there before you were born. It will be there before you die, after you die. That's the inner self. The inner self also thinks. Like this, in this body we think. Inner self has the mind. Like we think this body and the brain has a mind. The inner self that is able to perform these sense perceptions, we sometimes call it an astral body or a sensory system body or a body that has all sense perceptions. What it does not have is matter. It does not have any physical matter. This physical body has the same sense perceptions, same mind, plus physical matter. So when we become unaware of the physical matter of the physical body, the inner self opens up and we discover it is so light because there is no matter in it. What is making us heavy here in this physical world is physical material body. That body consists of sense perceptions and a mind and our soul. Our soul makes these things alive. Soul makes the mind alive. Soul makes the inner body alive. And that is why the astral body or the inner body can be discovered by us by simple process of withdrawing our attention from outside, from the body, by concentrating it on the spot behind the eyes, inside the head. Why that point? Why should we concentrate at that point in a physical body when we are trying to find something non-physical? The reason is that the inner non-physical body, which contains sense perceptions, is right now operating in this body from a center inside the head. And that center has sometimes been called the third eye center, the inner center, the center of consciousness, the center of wakeful consciousness. Why is it called the center of wakeful consciousness? Because when we are awake in the physical body, we are actually operating from there. Also, why is it called third eye center? Because these two eyes, physical eyes, they do not see what we are seeing outside. If the physical eyes were to see, these are two eyes separated, we would see two images. We see only one image. Where do the two images that two eyes are seeing, two different pictures on the retina of this eye, where do we combine them? That we see distance and we create distance by seeing two eyes. Where are we combining them? If you examine that and close your eyes and say, where do I make one image of two images that are in the eyes? We make them behind the eyes at the center of the head, and that is why it's called the third eye. The third eye actually sees through the two eyes, even physically. It's not something you have to find somewhere. You're using it right now. The moment you use two eyes to see one picture, you are using the third eye. I'm making this point because many people say, we have been meditating for a long time, we can't find our third eye. I tell them, you were at the third eye all the time. There's no other place to go when you're awake. The point is not to find it, the point is to put your attention on it. The meditation, not trying to find something, meditation is to withdraw your attention to your own self. You are operating in the physical body from third eye center in the wakeful state anyway. And why do I keep on saying wakeful state? Because in other states, it is not behind the eyes. For example, we go to sleep at night. This location of where we are operating from shifts. It goes downwards. And when we are half asleep, it is almost at the level of our nose. And that you can check out. At night, when you're feeling sleepy, you can try and touch your eyes. Right now, in the wakeful state, with your eyes closed, you can touch your eyes very easily. You know where they are. If you're half asleep, try to touch your eyes. You will touch your nose and think you're touching your eyes. Which means that actually the location of where you think your eyes are, from where you see the world, itself shifts. When you're dreaming, you can't, of course, remember your body. There's some yogic practices in which you can remember the body while you're dreaming or in a lower state of consciousness. When you touch your eyes in the dream state, you will touch your throat and you think you are touching your eyes. This is because our notional location, where we operate in the body, changes. We are here behind the eyes because we are in physical state, aware of a physical body and a physical world. If you are aware of something else, the location changes. If you are aware of something higher than the physical body, like forgetting the physical body and having a knowledge only of our mind, this place shifts and goes a little higher. So there is a different location depending upon what our state of wakefulness is, or dream state, or higher wakefulness. It shifts. So the body is only carrying our life force for an experience. And since most of our physical experience takes place in the wakeful state, therefore we are constantly at the third eye center and operating from there. That is why when you do meditation, and you want to have the experience I am talking about, which means experience of concentrating your attention behind the eyes at the third eye center, you do not have to search for any center. You are there. You have to put your attention on yourself where you are. But the problem arises in the beginning that you think you are sitting on the chair or on the floor, wherever you are sitting, and that's where you are because you are associating yourself with the body. Just one little change has to be made. I am sitting in the body. Where am I sitting? If we just ask this question, I am not sitting on my chair, I am not sitting on the floor, I am sitting inside my body. Where am I sitting? You close your eyes, you say, where am I sitting? Automatically, because your eyes are in front and you are trying to look from inside, you will locate yourself where you are really operating from in the wakeful state. This is the most important step, according to me, to have successful meditation. Thousands of my friends have spent years and years not understanding this simple point, that we are already at the third eye center. There's nothing to be found. Only we have to know we are not the physical body, we are inside the physical body, we are driving the physical body, we are using it from where? Behind the eyes, from where we look out with these eyes, where we hear with these ears. Very important. Seeing and hearing are very important two functions. They continue even higher than the inner body. Listening and being able to speak and to be able to see. These are very important functions and they are operating. The mind speaks at the same point. We listen at the same point. We hear at the same point. The third eye, which we are sitting at right now, is located right behind these eyes, in the center between the two eyes, between the two ears. Very clear. We are already there. All we have to do in the first step of meditation is to realize that's where we are. There is some help that we can get from a simple process called imagination. How does that work? We close our eyes and we are aware of the whole body. We concentrate our attention on the head and we imagine we are sitting behind these eyes. When we imagine something, our attention goes there. If I imagine I'm sitting on top of this building, my attention will go there. If I imagine I'm walking outside, my attention will go there. If I imagine we are sitting there, our attention goes in. If I imagine I'm singing a song there, my attention will go there. If I'm imagining I'm having a cup of tea with my friend inside, my attention will go in. Meditation is not to worry about what mantra we are repeating, what kind of practices we are doing, and put all the attention in the world and just use this. Meditation is to pull your attention to behind the eyes, between the ears, where you are already located in the wakeful state if you are not the body. So that's a very important step. I myself, after I got initiation from the great master, Sur Maharaj Baba Sahib Singh, whose picture you see here, for some years I didn't understand how to find a third eye center and where to sit. Because he kept on emphasizing in his discourses that you must first establish yourself, sit behind the eyes before you start meditation. He did not think it was meditation to close eyes and try to find out something. Meditation starts when you start to discover where you are, and that inner body has to meditate, not this body. This body is for use outside the world. He is trying to find something inside. We have to use our inner body for that. And that is why I had to go to him and say, I can't find. He did a clever little trick with me. He said, raise your hand and your finger right up in the air. I said, you can't see where the finger is with these eyes. No, I can't, because it's up there. But can you imagine you are sitting up there? Can you raise this self, what you thinking you are here? Can you think you are gone up there? I said, that I can do, it's imaginary. So I imagined I was there. He said, are you still imagining you are there? Yes, I am still imagining I am there. He said, bring it down slowly. Are you still there? I am still there. Are you still there? I'm still there. Jump in. I jumped in. I knew I was there. It's simple. That's how he explained to me. He said, now where you are, that's where you meditate. So this is so important because we are not meditating there. We are complicating our location where we have to meditate even further by buying a special chair for meditation, buying a special cushion, special carpet rug. We say we got a very expensive rug, I'm using it for meditation. Then you meditate on the rug. It's obvious. If you have a special chair, where is your attention going? To the chair. Some people set up a special place in their house. This is our temple. This is our mosque. This is our church. This is our synagogue. We have made it in our own house because they say you can find the truth in your own house. So we made a nice place, and that you can come and see. We have got some of that, what do they burn? Yeah, so I have all kind of things that are burning, some little meditational music is playing outside, and you are meditating there. You are meditating on that essence going up, you are meditating on the candle that is burning, you are meditating on the special flower you kept there. You're meditating on outside. And you have made sure you will meditate outside because you made them special for yourself. And that is why people are doing it for their whole life. And they get nothing. They say, no, meditation doesn't work. It doesn't work. You are doing it at the wrong place. There is no place outside if you want to meditate to go inside. The only place is inside. So put your attention first inside and make that your meditation chamber. You want to put a nice chair, put the chair there. It's only imaginary. Imagine you have a beautiful chair there. It won't even cost you any money. The chair outside will cost you money. Sometimes we spend so much on outside things, and the truth lies inside. A friend of mine, he had to come and see one of my programs, and he said, I will come and meditate with you. I said, very welcome. We have these meditation workshops. You're most welcome, come. Then before the meditation started, he wrote to me, I'm sorry, I can't come. The $300 I had earmarked for travel to see you, I have placed on buying a chair. It's a very beautiful chair. It costs $900. I don't have $900, so I have invested $300 as a layaway. So when I complete my payment of $900, I'll get that beautiful chair. It's so wonderful. You will love to see it when you come and see the chair. I said, I'm sorry that you can't come, but at least you will get a chair. After the next program came, and he wrote to me, I'm sorry, I can't attend and see you because I had to place another $300 on the layaway for the chair. Now one more installment and I will get the chair. After that, I'll come and see you. As it actually happened, after his second installment was paid, he died. Never got the chair, never saw me, and the attention was all on the chair. Now imagine if our reincarnation, rebirth, takes place because of where our attention is, where our desires are, that unfortunate soul has to be reborn to get a chair. Can you imagine how much we get attached to something? And he will be specially attached that he could not get the chair. I have to get my chair. I paid for it. And he missed the little opportunity of where I could have told him, you can get a chair, more beautiful chair, without a single penny, just inside yourself. That costs you nothing. It's an imaginary chair. But it's a chair inside. And when you sit on that chair, you're thinking of inside. Your attention is inside. You can have nice decoration. When you start sitting there, there's place for a chair. When you look at the body, there's no place for a chair, so small. When you close your eyes, there's plenty of place, not only to make a chair, but to decorate a whole room. You can put nice windows, nice curtains, nice drapes there. You can have nice carpets put up there. So long as you do this in the area at the level of the eyes and above. Don't start making at the heart center, because then again you will go into energy centers. You will not get higher awareness. Nobody is got. I spent years and years with these yogis and spent so much time on practice of the energetic centers. We don't get higher awareness. You get new experiences. Experience is not the same thing as finding yourself. Some people are saying, oh, I was very successful in meditation. I saw some red light and some blue light, and I saw some stars shining. Sometimes they would come from here, there. I said, if I knock you hard on the head, you'll see all the same things. What are we talking about? Can you call a little experience like that as a realization of yourself? What have you found? You only find your own self if your attention is on own self. Right now we think our body is our own self. When we do meditation and start assuming we are sitting at the inside, that becomes our own self. And later on I will tell you during the course of this meditation workshop, when you meditate with the inner body, in the third eye center of the inner body, even the sense perceptions disappear. And your attention is withdrawn. you can still think. You're still alive. Your thinking becomes very clear and brilliant because the mind is still there. Sense perceptions, you have withdrawn your attention. Physical body, withdrawn your attention. But the mind is functioning. And then we think that's ourself. The mind with which we think is ourself. That is also not true. Our self is which makes the mind alive. We are the life force, the soul. The mind is also a body. The mind is creating all experiences that we're having with the senses and with the physical body. And we don't realize it. We think experience comes from somewhere else. We are merely experiencers sitting here. When you go to the stage of the mind, then you discover the mind is creating everything. That's a very big revelation for us. It turns everything topsy-turvy. We thought that we have come into a world to experience it. We are generating a world of experience, at the same time experiencing it. So that's a very wonderful way to discover the origin of our entire experience. Origin of the whole creation can be found out by discovering our own mind. Therefore, the mind also has been called a body. And they name it the Karan Sharir, causal body. It causes all things to happen. But not ourselves. It's still a body. The only problem is, after that, there is no way we can do anything to go beyond it. Because anything we do is done with the mind. Every effort we make is made with the mind. And when you say, I'm going to do it, the mind is speaking. So your mind can't speak up and get away from itself. And that is why large number of realized saints even realized great Mahatmas have spoken to them all over the country in India and outside in other countries. And they're all finishing thinking the mind soul is the same thing as our origin. When they discover the variety of experiences that can take place at the mental level, they begin to realize there's a higher mind, lower mind. They can see many kinds of mind. They see one mind from which all minds came, universal mind. They say, we have found the truth, everything. But that is not the truth. The truth is, we are a soul that does not even think, that just provides life, that makes mind alive, creates the mind, creates the bodies. That's the soul, life principle. That's our true self. And there is no way anybody by any meditation, by any practice can find it. I'm sorry to say that. People say we can find our true self by trying very hard to do something. The harder you try, the more you are depending on the mind. And yet there are masters, ordinary human beings, like this man whose picture you see here. A great master, Baba Sawan Singh, in this physical body. He had gone beyond the mind. How did he go beyond the mind? He helped so many of us, other people, to go beyond the mind. How did he help? When we know meditation can take us there, how can anybody help us to go beyond the mind? How can't we help ourselves to go beyond the mind? The truth is, only that thing can take you beyond the mind, which lies beyond the mind. Thinking, effort, meditation, work is all within the mind's realm. None of these can take you beyond. But there are some things which are beyond the mind, and we are experiencing it even here. Most important of them is let's try today meditation behind the eyes with love and devotion, where you visualize